My esteemed panelists, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for letting me be here today. Thank you to Elets for organizing today's conference and the municipality of Lucknow, as well as the state of Uttar Pradesh. Today, many people have called me an expert in smart cities. As a government employee, I'm hardly an expert. In the United States, our experience is that our companies in the private sector take the lead, and those engineers and business executives that work this stuff day after day are the true experts. Everything I know about smart cities, I've learned from a multitude of some of the leading US companies that are doing work in this area, not only in India, but around the world and in a variety of different markets, solving a variety of different problems. Many of them you may have heard, firms like Cisco, IBM, Honeywell, AECOM, Johnson Controls, AES, Xylem, O-Power, the list goes on and on. But many of the important thing for you to know is that many of these companies are here, they've invested in India, they are making product in India, employing Indian engineers and business people in many communities across this nation. They are working with counterparts in many countries to develop technologies to solve the real problems facing urban government, such as public transportation, efficient communications, e-governance, energy, sanitation, and city infrastructure. Our experience in the United States is actually that the United States does not claim to have a single smart city. Rather, we do have companies that are developing the technology. They may be employing them in pilot projects in the United States or in other cities and other countries around the world. I think of all the countries in the world, India has the best chance of building the world's first smart city from the ground up, because you have industrial corridors that are developing industrial parks in conjunction with the residents, in conjunction with your public transportation. That's not been done anywhere else in the world from the ground up. The global experience in smart cities thus far has been, how do we retrofit existing cities? How do we come into existing infrastructures and somehow modify them to bring on the new technologies? And as you well know, urban growth creates all sorts of interesting challenges that engineers, city planners, communities have to figure out how to address. Here in India, the US Embassy and all of the representative agencies within the US Embassy have been accomplishing much with our US-India Smart City collaboration efforts since it began back in 2014, when Prime Minister Modi invited us to be part of India's Smart Cities Directive. Initially, we've adopted 3 cities that we have concentrated our efforts on: Vishakhapatnam, Ajmer, and Allahabad. So I'd like to take stock of some of that progress that we've made thus far before discussing where the future is taking us. We completed a first phase of master planning for the city of Vizag, a project led by a US company with tremendous international experience, AECOM, and supported by its knowledge and technology partners, KPMG and IBM, each leaders in their fields globally. A second phase is now underway, helping to define the specific ways that Vizag citizens can benefit from improvements in water treatment, urban transport, energy, healthcare, and education. I'm from the US Department of Commerce, the agency that deals primarily with US companies. We have another sister agency, the US Trade Development Agency, and working together with them on some of these projects. We also completed what we like to call reverse trade missions, which means bringing officials from India back to the United States to meet with our officials to see not just what the technological solutions are, but also meet with the city planners who are actually implementing these plans, financing these plans, to talk about best practices. We've done that with the state of Andhra Pradesh and took them to New York City, Washington, D.C., and San Francisco back in 2016. Earlier this year, we took a group from the state of Rajasthan for a similar exchange. And the plan is to include Uttar Pradesh a little bit later this year in 2017. We believe that this knowledge sharing is critical, not just as an exploration of solutions that are available, but also as a framework for understanding how to develop the right policy framework to incentivize and implement these solutions. We've also held a number of technical workshops over the last couple of years in all 3 of these partner cities. And we try to engender a detailed discussion on solutions for things like intelligent transport, water and wastewater, smart power, and other items of interest. And they've been focused engagements with city and municipal planners and have promoted best practices and sharing and capacity development to move forward on actual projects in these sectors. We continue programming events, bringing subject matter experts from the United States with a variety of backgrounds in these areas, and having these experts meet with government officials, business leaders, academic institutions to help create a long line of linkages so that the thought development is there. The planning is so critical. Before you bring in any technologies, you have to have the institution in place. We've worked collaboratively with a consortium of companies under the auspices of the American Chamber of Commerce and the U.S.-India Business Council, and help these companies that are members of these binational chambers to find their opportunities as they become available in these smart cities programs here in India. This year of 2017 has certainly been a year of transition for the U.S. government, especially back in Washington. Even here in Delhi, we're awaiting at the embassy for a new ambassador to be assigned. But throughout all of this transition, this work on the Smart Cities Partnership has endured. It has endured across administrations, and we believe it will continue to endure. And we're committed to several projects coming up in the next year. One of these projects I'll just share with you, we're already in the field of smart energy, smart grids, energy storage. We'll be bringing a trade mission of US companies that have these technologies. We're bringing them here to go to New Delhi, to Hyderabad, and to Mumbai in March of 2018. Prior to that, we'll have a series of workshops through different partnerships, bringing more, not just the academics and the engineers, but we also plan to bring state representatives from US states, where we are already working at solving some of these problems, and having them interact with state governments here in India, just to talk about best practices, what works, what doesn't work. If some of those best practices involve US solutions, then of course, we are there to help make those connections, help people find each other, because ultimately, what we want to see is that whichever city that's building a smart city or a smart city project, it's most important to us that we find the solution that best solves your problem in a sustainable way. It's the correct solution, and it's something that you truly want and need. So I wish you all a successful conference, and thank you for your continued dedication to this important program of Smart Cities. Thank you.